I'm sat here thinking about that in my garden as I'm listening to you guys, and I'm, so happy for Peter and the numbers that mankind have produced and attracted and magnetized. So very grateful. Peter's a very dear friend. So
awesome. Thank you, Dimple.
Voice
And
of
Sean.
Dimple is present. The voice of Dimple is present and resonant. How are you, Dimple?
very well, Sean. How are you?
I am doing beautifully.
Yeah.
And what is most present for you in this moment when I say the voice of Dimple is present?
Gratitude, absolute gratitude and grace for being in the presence of these incredible people that are part of Unblinded. Gratitude and grace to you, Sean, for stepping up and doing what other people felt was impossible. That's what's
I appreciate it, Dimple, and I appreciate it, Fernando. Just stay with us for 1 minute, Dimple, if you don't mind. Guys, hey, it's Why Wednesday. And what I would love to offer is the question to everybody of where is your greatest fear? We did this a couple days ago, but in the context of agreement formation. Like, what is your greatest fear? And make it more rich than I'll be rejected. Like, we get that there's two fears, rejection and failure. Make it richer. Like, what is the story that you make up about what people are going to say about you?
Yeah.
That sits at the base of your rejection. Like, what is the fear you have when it's like, okay, like I'm at step 4. For those of you who don't know, there's 4 steps. There's the opening of listening. Step 1, emotional rapport building. 2nd, putting something at stake. 3rd, the creation and conveyance of heroic, unique identity. And step 4 is agreement formation. Like, step 4 is agreement formation. And it's like, hey, like, so how are you feeling about this? Is it like rooted in, and what's the limiter? Like, so are you afraid you're not sure how to transition into it? Is it an energetic feeling? Is it a question of like skill and they might just say no and I don't know what to do from there and it becomes uncomfortable? So like, what's the fear of the worst thing that can happen? Like, they'll laugh at me. They'll say that I'm a gross salesperson. They'll say I'm greedy. They'll say I'm selfish. They'll say I'm manipulative. They'll say I'm an idiot. I don't know what I'm doing, right? Like, what is it that you're afraid that somebody will say? Because we're all afraid of something, right? And so, like, what is it? And I'd love to just go around and please put in the chat. And so, and I'm going to get to Dimple in a moment if she's feels like sharing. Nobody ever has to share. But Fernando, are you comfortable and would you mind sharing what your biggest fear is in the process? Like, the moment that it becomes, uncomfortable. And for you, it might be I have no fear of the process. Like, I'm locked in. I'm not afraid of how to transition. The formula teaches me that. But my fear is ... So would you be up for sharing, Fernando?
Yes, I am digesting the question. We also have Jen Dyer here as well after, I would love to hear Dimple share. What's present for me was when I'll start originally and then I'll go now. Originally, what was baffling to me was how you would speak about, when I would model you, Sean, it would be like the way you would speak into what was present that no one wanted to say. Like, hey, I feel like this is here for you. Or like, it sounds like what you actually mean is this. And I remember being baffled, literally baffled at how I would do that. It felt so uncomfortable. A lot of things came up for me. And it was over time because of my desire to, consolidate, expedite, concise conversation in the most ethical, integral way, that I realized that would speed up conversation. Even if it's sped up, like confronting energy, it would speed up the conversation. So that for me at first was very scary because I just didn't know how people would react. I thought they would flip out, and sometimes they do. And that's cool too. And if I would say now, it just, when I think now, I don't have fear. I guess if I had to choose one, is like choosing when to speak. I guess I would say, I don't know if it shows up as a fear, but as something that I'm constantly deciding is like the timing of when to speak. And
cool. Awesome. Yeah. And what's your biggest fear? What's the story you make up in your biggest fear, if any, right? of what can happen if you choose to speak at the wrong time, and like the worst scenario happens. Like what's worst case scenario for Fernando about what somebody would think or feel in terms of rejecting you or you're failing? Or you can't be
Greatest,
like make up
yeah.
stories about rejection, right?
Greatest fear is the idea of having to completely start all over again, like zero identity and like restarting.
Okay, so yours is failure and the massive waste of resources and
Yeah.
money, time, and energy.
I would go with yes with those.
All right, cool. Dimple, please share, and then we'll get to Jen in just one more moment, and I'm super psyched. So Dimple, how about yourself? Is that something you'd like to share, or you'd rather pass on this question?
I hate this question, but I have to share because it scares the hell out of me. So,
Yeah.
The fear, as I was just processing, and the fear for me is there's definitely an energetic fear. I get hooked on their story. So when they come up with the objections, I get hooked on their story, and that completely sends me into freeze mode. So that's the first piece. And then the other piece is the fear is that they don't believe I can achieve for them what I'm saying I can.
Awesome. And then what would that mean about you? You'd just be frustrated to help them, or to actually, does it bring...
It would mean that I was a fraud.
Boom. I knew that was the answer. And that's there for everybody. Thank you for your candor, Dimple. And you want to know why Bruce Springsteen, Oprah Winfrey, Tony Robbins, and by the way, I will be clear, I don't want to be any of those people. Like, my desire is that never to walk down the street and have anybody know my name. I don't want to deal with that. I don't have that desire. Like, I want Unblinded to be known across the world. I do not want to walk down the street and have people know me. I affirmatively don't want that. I don't want it in my space. I don't want it in my time. My heart bleeds for Tony when I see that stuff go on. And I'm not saying he needs me to bleed. Like, he may be completely happy.
Yeah.
Right. And same thing with Oprah, Bruce. Like, I wouldn't want that. Right. But those incredible people have found a way to reconcile that people are like going to judge them, blame them, misunderstand, misportray them. And their self-mastery in dealing with that is utterly extraordinary. And that's how they become what they become. Does that make sense, Dimple?
Yes, 100%.
Right. All right.
100%.
So, Dimple, thank you. Any final from you, Dimple? And thank you for your beautiful appearance today.
No, I appreciate you. The view is extraordinary behind you. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you, Dimple, for all of your love, care, attention, supporting energy, and actual actions. So thank you so much, Dimple.
God bless.
Thank you, Dimple. Fernando, thank you. Let's get to it, brother.
Awesome. I am excited to introduce everyone to Jen Dyer. I'm going to read her bio and then just share a few. She is the Director of Development for Operation Underground Railroad. As of January 2019, she oversees events, donor development, fundraising, growth, and awareness. Jen cares deeply about company culture and strives to cultivate trust, integrity, and communication on her team. When she's not, in the world of Operation Underground Railroad, and I'm looking forward for her to share that mission, she enjoys spending time with her family. She loves hiking, outdoors, and she is an avid learner in professional and personal development and leadership. So that's what her bio says. What I would like to say is how I see Jen is one of the most whimsical, artistic demonstrations of leadership, servant leadership I've ever seen. She was the person who opened the door when we all got there. She was the one who helped us with the Wi-Fi. She's the one who ordered the food. She's the one who held time integrity. And she's the one who is like running, driving, relationships, decisions, and things, and stepped in so powerfully in the world of agreement. So her, to me, is just an example of leadership. Thank you to Courtney Epps for creating and developing this ecosystem. So team, if we can bring up Jen Dyer. And Jen Dyer, hello, and happy to have you here with us.
Good morning. Thank you for those kind words, Fernando. Really appreciate that. It means a lot coming from you.
Yeah. And Jen, I want to acknowledge you and thank you for the incredible things that you are doing, Operation Underground Railroad is doing. I mean, what can possibly be said that would even come close to appropriately identifying, the big problem that's being solved in the world here and its meaning. Like we talk about solving big problems of like, hey, we want to help people, increase their money, time, magic, their energy, their flow, it seems incredibly trivial, beyond incredible, like a penny versus the Empire State Building, and looking at the big problems that you're up to solving at Operation Underground Railroad, which of course require these skill sets, but you know, like the space that you're in is incomprehensible. So Jen, why do you do what you do, and what are you guys up to?
Hi, good morning, Sean. Thank you. You know, as I was thinking, as Fernando was speaking, a couple thoughts came to my mind, if I might just share really quickly.
Please.
Why Wednesday? As I sit here on July 1st, and in a couple days, we celebrate the freedoms of our country. And what came to me is today, my why would be that I'll share with the group here. I have freedoms that others don't have. And simple freedoms from being able to wake up in a beautiful canyon, in a beautiful state, in a beautiful country, being able to eat what I want, being able to go and jump in the ocean at 6 a.m., whatever it might be. I have those freedoms, and I have a voice and a platform to be able to share the message of Operation Underground Railroad, which is to shine a light on the global epidemic of child sex trafficking. And in so doing, bring justice to the predators, as well as provide exceptional aftercare to survivors around the world.
Extraordinary. Jen, you know, and just for a moment, because some folks may not be present to the reality, how would you help bring people to present to the reality of like the size of this problem, and the pervasiveness of this, it's not a problem, this utter, like, horrific, beyond comprehension challenge?
So a couple of statistics that I think will really give a good idea of what we're trying to fight here, to bring light and hope. The trade, sex trafficking is a $150 billion industry around the world. It's the fastest growing criminal enterprise. And, you know, you can think about this for just a moment, that drugs can be sold once. A child can be sold repeatedly, which is why it is the fastest growing criminal enterprise and why it's a $150 billion industry a year. There are approximately 30 million people enslaved around the world today, and that looks a little bit different depending on what state and country you're in. And that encompasses sex slavery, child labor, organ harvesting. Those are just a few of what that 30 million who are enslaved in the world today might consist of. 2 million of those are children, specifically in the sex trade around the world. And here in the United States, we have approximately 250,000 children in the sex trade today, right now. So those are just a couple of statistics that might open some eyes and ears and hearts to the issue, to the epidemic, to the lack of freedom that human beings around the world have.
And Jen, thank you for your great work. And I think this has become more clear to me than ever. So this includes people that are literally kidnapped, and it includes people that are slowly progressed into this lifestyle, and then physically unable to leave because of threats of violence, fear, things. So it encompasses both. Am I right? Like kidnappings,
Correct.
And then people that are like, hey, you could be a model. And then
Correct.
it's like, hey, you just do this. And then all of a sudden it's like, and now you're going to do this. Is that a fair encapsulation?
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah, awesome. So Fernando, you know, what say you, brother? And, you know, we have lots of things to do here. Would you like to share some of the things that we're up to? Or?
Yeah, what I would, you know, first of all, Jen, thank you, you know, for being here and spending some time with us. And I know you'll be on a Real Raw Open today as well. So just truly what you're doing in the world. I know you just came from a trip, so you are truly committed. We did have someone that stayed through an earthquake, which was probably the most radical appearance we've had on a Real Raw Open, but we're grateful to have you. What we're doing with yourself and Courtney, I'd love for you to share, but what I want everyone really to hear, and my apologies if I incorrectly say the title, is abolitionist, and what that is in the organization and how people can support in that way. If you can just elaborate and add some color, please.
Yes, absolutely. So we have a group of individuals, approximately 14,000 strong, and they're part of what we call our abolitionist club. And what that is you can sign up. It's very easy. Our website is ourrescue.org, ourrescue.org. And this group is a group of recurring donors. We have someone that sends in $2 a month, and we have individuals that send in thousands a month, recurring. And this group of individuals they are there. They are consistent. They are supporting us every month, from the widow's mite to the person who is choosing to give their donation annually in this way, so that we are feeling their presence and their energy for monthly. This group of abolitionists is a group that supports us. With coronavirus, we have seen miracles and blessings in the way that our funding has not dropped. We are able to continue on in this fight to rescue and provide aftercare to survivors around the world, in large part due to our abolitionist club. And they're a group of individuals that we focus on, we pay attention to. They get information before it's made public. So if that's something that sounds interesting to you, please check it out. I think we all know what an abolitionist is. We haven't lived through the transatlantic slave trade, where individuals rose up and used their voices to abolish slavery and slave trade. That is what Operation Underground Railroad is doing today, is rising up, creating a wave, sending the message out that we will not tolerate this against our children.
Thank you. And, I've been moved to support, Operation Underground Railroad, and I will continue to do so. And this is just an unspeakable horror. Like what worse could possibly be going on in the world to stop? So, Jen, I'm immensely grateful. And any final words from you before we sort of move on with our day, and we'll be seeing each other in a little while on the Real Raw Open. And I think that's, Fernando, at just time check on that. What time is the Real Raw Open today with Jen and Courtney?
Sean, I don't have an exact time at the moment.
I think it's, let's get that. I think it's either 11 or 11:30 today, 11:30. Jen, do you know, is that 11 or 11:30 today?
Yeah, I'm not sure either. I think I've heard a couple times, so I'll wait for Fernando to circle with me on that.
And we'll put that in the chat. So actually, Fernando, get from Chaz right now. Let's announce it before we hang up, please. So Jen, thank you. Thank you for everything you do in the world, and appreciate you very, very much, and looking forward to continuing to be a part of everything that you're doing. So thank you.
Thank you. Blessings to you all.
Blessings to you too.
Thank you.
Okay. So as we draw to a close, just getting that final time check on what time that Real Raw Open is from today. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being you. We're here together to create acceleration. This is a place of doing good, adding more massive value, having more and more what, money, time, and magic. What does that look like? It looks like you're time blocking, right? Like being driven by your why, this Why Wednesday, to being your time blocking, to confront your fears, if that's what's stopping you, of asking, building, and coming back with what those limitations and challenges are for you. Fernando, final?
Thank you, everyone, for being here. Abolitionists can start as low as $1. It is one of the measurements that we have in our 6 of process mastery for everyone in our 10 by 10. How many ecosystems are we counting? Quality and quantity of our stages and microphones, quality and quantity of our sales. How many of those are going from hello to yes? What is the disposable income that we're generating? And what are we donating in resources and or time to contribution? So thank you all, and grateful Why Wednesday.
Awesome. And we have a time check, Fernando? Not yet?
Not at the moment.
All right. So we're going to put that in the chat. It's either 11 or 11:30. Today, the railroad opened with Operation Underground Railroad and others. So Jen from Operation Underground Railroad, Courtney Epps. Have an awesome day, everybody. Happy White Wednesday. Thanks.